The band's like, all right, you get Renekton, you get Shyvana, but Gragas is taken away, so 228, not going to see that one again. Fizz is taken away as well, so none of that for him. And Fiddlesticks Caitlyn going to be the first two bans from CGA. The last ban, though, I feel like it's going to be Shyvana or Renekton, and then if Shyvana's open, wins to snatch it, but it's Jarvan. So they leave HKA with the option to either pick Renekton or Shyvana right now. Or maybe just completely bypass that because PaSa wasn't targeted as a ban target, which we just forgot to say. And he'll go for Nidalee, which is pre-nerf Nidalee, and very strong.
Oh, and possibly a Jax for red. I like the Nidalee pickup. We talked a lot about top lane and how that's going to be a very big defining role for both of these teams, but that forgoes the mid lane matchup. And for PaSa, his Nidalee is actually no joke at all. And for Hong Kong Attitude, that's kind of what they were missing. They had a lot of wave clear, but they didn't have a big playmaking mid laner like 228, which is just absolutely devastating for CGA in game number 1. So we'll have to see if Nidalee is the answer. We'll have the ability to poke things out, but if game number 1 is any indication, CGA, they don't care about minions. They're just going to dive straight through the turret, take it down. So is poke really the answer that Hong Kong Attitude needs?
We'll see. Literally late game, we saw it happen yesterday. She just poked you down to Deathcap Void Staff, and you're like, oh, half my HP is gone. I'm a poor support. What's happening? Or an AD carry and just get blown up. But the picks coming in from CGA, going to be that anti-support for Sean. Again, he had phenomenal Tibbers, a lot of ward control. The Oracle's coming in very early on and taking complete control of the jungle. And Shyvana for potentially PeehSmite or Red in that top end / jungle combination.
Well, after Red's Shyvana performance in game number 1, yeah, you cannot expect him to go anywhere else. The only difference is they actually were hovering over either Vi or Shyvana, something that PeehSmite would do very well on, but giving that over to Faye again, he actually had a lot of early game presence there that was something that HK really needed. So I don't know if we're going to see that, but it is a Renekton picked away there for win. Kind of interesting to see Red with a choice of either Renekton or Shyvana, both champions he's done very well with. He gets the Shyvana, gives away the Renekton pick, so might have seen that coming. We'll see if he has an answer to wins Renekton.
Yeah, and Red, Renekton master himself, so maybe he'll know how to deal with it. And Lucian coming for Ngod again, so we'll see if he can pick up a quadra kill and have a better performance than last game. But CGA hovering over Aatrox and Vi as
probably won't go for both of those.
I don't think so, yeah.
With the Lucian taken away already, you got to go with the Vi. I mean, there is a Caitlyn pick, Ezreal, both kind of sort of holdovers for the majority of Season 3, but coming into Season 4, it doesn't get much better than two of the newest released AD carries in both Jinx and Lucian as well. So we're going to see a lot of Lucian picked, banned in a lot of different places, but it's the Vi locked in as well as a Jinx. So some sisterly love coming out today.
All right, so none of that hidden passive where they get an extra little 1 gold for when they kill each other, but on the same team now as Jinx can respond to Lucian pretty well. You got PaSa for the attack speed and then Fishbones for the range, and you can stack the attack speed and switch to Fishbones, get a few extra rockets in. And Zap is a good response to some of the range that the Piercing Light can come in from Lucian, and the Assault and Battery to tag down Lucian if he tries to run away with the Relentless Pursuit. But now HKA looking for potentially a mid laner and a jungler, or a support. Actually, they're lacking that too. So let's see what they go for as they're hovering over Morgana. Morgana is not a bad option. She's pretty safe. The Black Shield, really good for keeping anybody alive through anything that is magic or CC. And Elise, something that fell through till the last pick for the side of HKA. And Faye could play that one.
I want to see the Morgana get locked in as a support.
That'd be pretty cool, actually.
Exactly. And Southeast Asia, they're not afraid to try anything.
It's
getting
down.
Locked in. So unless that's a support in Italy, we are going to
Elise. You never know. Jungle Morgana, just blow us away.
That is true. I'll never forget the very first time I saw support Elise. It was by a Chinese team. I think it was MVP Ozone way back in the day. This guy named Ming9 that just played more support Elise than I've ever seen before. So
Rise, too.
If they want to switch that away, then that's going to be cool. But yeah, like you said, the Rise pick coming out, that's why you save your mid pick for last. Because you want to be able to counter that out. But going up against either Morgana or Nidalee, probably will be Nidalee, but I'm not ruling anything out. We've seen AP Ezreals, we've seen just absolutely crazy things out of these team comps. No AD carry, AD Oriannas. It's going to be interesting to see where these guys go.
It's really skill dependent on if you play Morgana. You have to time that Black Shield through either potentially the Fireball coming out from Annie, because then she could throw out Incinerate mid-cast of the Fireball and just catch you by surprise with a stun, because then the Fireball hits second, and you're just like, wait, what just happened? And then you're just stunned, and you're like, oh, I Black Shielded 2 seconds after, and it's just a whole mess. But she has a lot of catch potential. If you get Dark Minded, as well as her ultimate, you're slowed, you're rooted, and you're going to look to die very easily.
Yeah, it offers a lot of crowd control. The only problem is that, at least for Morgana, in order to get that crowd control off, especially in the case of Soul Shackles, you need a Zanya's Hourglass. This isn't 3.14. You're just not going to have that item unless we get on to 40, 50 minutes into the game. But that's going to be our pick and ban phase done with. We're into game number 2 of the grand final best of 3 in the amateur tournaments here at Intel Extreme Masters Singapore. So looking for a comeback from Hong Kong Attitude or CGA to close this out. Very Hong Kong Attitude style with a 2-0 victory.
We'll see if they can do that one. But I like the potential for HKA to catch someone out with like a Cocoon, binding spears galore coming in from PaSa. That's going to be really rough to deal with, but Assault and Battery from Vi, you just can't stop her. Dragon's Descent, and then Rise late game is that tanky monster, especially if you get some magic resist for that Spirit Visage, and then just his ultimate scales really well with the spell vamp he can get with it. And we're into the game, and we're looking to see where they want to run onto the Rift and where they want to ward.
So welcome everybody, if you're just now joining us, welcome to Intel Extreme Masters Singapore. This is game number 2 of the grand finals of the amateur tournament here today. If you guys are wondering who on earth are these teams, what are they doing here, why are they so incredibly good, it's Hong Kong Attitude with a dominant 2-0 over Kuala Lumpur Hunters, taking on Cyber Games Arena, who had an epic 2-game comeback against the Japanese team Detonation Focus Me, and that brings them here to the grand finals. CGA setting up in the bush. Oh, but Red's outside the bush, so would have gotten scouted out there. 5 men strong coming around the corner.
First spear of the game, gonna actually connect onto 228, take away about 90 of his HP right there. So they're gonna be walking in, still very aggressive. Sean gonna lead the charge. He's got the stun ready with the Incinerate phase, waiting in that brush though. So throws at the Spiderling. They're gonna scout it out. Red is running in fearless right now. The Dark Binding didn't connect from perhaps either. And 228 getting chunked away at 200 HP in a very dangerous situation. If he gets flanked out from the side of HKA, that could be really good.
What?
Wow, he's gonna get stunned up by the Runic Prison. Pops the barrier though, and they will be able to run out of there without blowing any summoners. And barrier down for Ngod now could be very dangerous, but a counter invade coming in from HKA could sign a very rough time for PeehSmite early on, as he is forced to go back to base. He got chunked out and maybe forced to start red.
Now, Hong Kong Attitude were able to take out one of the wards placed down there by CGA and place another one at the blue buff. So with PeehSmite back in base, he's actually going to get to his jungle very late. Could see a steal setup, but it does look like FaZe is going to just walk back to his own jungle.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
What do you think they opted to send their jungler back to base early, knowing that he'd make it late to jungle, or they're just too afraid of that invade?
Well, he actually made it back to jungle just in time, as we had Red starting it early for him. PeehSmite gonna just snag it up away, and Red will run on up to the top lanes where he's gonna 1v1 wind. And not something where that blue buff Faye just goes back to his Red, keeps it safe, and starts it off very passive. As Dark Binding comes in from perhaps and doesn't really connect. And I'm gonna actually see something real quick. Perhaps has 0 AP, so very defensive, very tanky, 45 armor, 42 magic resist, so we're going to see a lot of potential trades coming in from both sides.
4 health potions, too, in the inventory. That just means you're going to be staying in that lane for a very long time. Binding. Connects.
Piercing Light, though, on the GodKwai. They're going to split up their pressure, as Sean actually going to get out-traded there by perhaps.
And speaking of out trades, that's something that Rise actually has a big advantage over Nidalee, especially in the early game, because Nidalee, she's more about, you know, poking things out with spears. Her auto attacks are great at harass, but it's just not going to work out too well. Perhaps now throwing the exhaust down onto Sean.
The Flame Choppers don't connect. Pow laying in a ton of damage. Flash coming in from Sean. Auto attack. The Ignite is going to tick down. It looks like one more tick and first blood over to Sean with a flash forward coming in from Ngod. Grabs the secured kill, but Ardent Blaze coming in. Auto attacks coming in as well as the Piercing Light. Can he pick up GodKwai? It looks like no. He's going to switch over to Fishbones, throwing some rocks to the face, and that's going to be a 1-for-1, but here comes PeehSmite, as he might look for a sneaky little gank to the side. GodKwai has a little bit of healing coming in from Pow. Vault Breaker's getting charged up. Can he get it? It looks like yes, he gets Flame Choppers. He knocks back, but a flash and an auto attack from PeehSmite as well. Some help in from the damage from Jinx right there. Nets a kill over to PeehSmite, and that's going to be 2-for-1 in the bot lane.
Yeah, a nice sneaky gank there by PeehSmite, able to just avoid minion coverage and get into that bottom lane. Brush came out, landed the Vault Breaker, and that's the second kill of the game for Cyber Games Arena. Top lane, we talked about this a lot coming into the game, but probably won't see a lot of just straight up action. Mid lane's where the action's at. Faye, even away from stealing away the raid camp, forced to repel away as 228. So much damage to throw out there, and I don't think PaSa wants the chance to deal with double buffs on Faye, but PeehSmite's going to be able to do some counter jungling of his own.
He's going to walk in that brush. The Spiderling is going to scout him out, though. Hits the nice little Wraith for him. Cocoon comes off the wall, but connects onto a minion instead. A Smite from Smite will grab himself that blue Wraith, and he will successfully counter jungle Faye. But up top, Red and Wind just going back out at the island of auto attack trades and the burnout, as well as the Twin Fangs from Red and that Shyvana just kind of helping him out with that trade. But Kolba Meek, as you see right there, is going to sustain win up just fine, as their Ignites are going to be traded back and forth here. They're both level 4, but a ton of damage from Red. He's going to chase this one down with a flash. The auto attack and the Ignite going to pick up the kill on Wind, as Red is that top lane master today.
I gotta say, very impressive when you're going into that. Oh, it's actually Black Shield on just a little bit too late onto Ngod. There will be a nice binding onto Sean. Won't catch PeehSmite under turret. It really could have turned that around. PeehSmite actually still taking.
What was that? The turret shot finishes off the piercing light, helping Ngod secure that kill, and that was a little too aggressive coming in. And now a potential chase from Ngod. He's got the blue buff, goes in with a relentless pursuit, tags him with a little bit of that passive, and I'm not too sure what happened there.
I'm thinking PeehSmite actually thought he dropped turret aggro before he went back in under, but took a couple extra turret shots from that, and then the piercing light there at the very end with an auto attack to pick up a kill, and now it's blue buff onto Ngod. And together with Perhaps will look to put a lot of pressure on bottom lane. You can see Elise Fi coming in from behind. Lane will begin to push back out, so nice counter gank opportunity there, but especially with the blue buff, Ngod Perhaps can have a very dominant position in that lane.
All right, so they're just waiting for them to extend up just a little bit. Faye being very patient right now, sitting on top of that ward. That's their own ward, so very confident that that is not warded from the side of Sean. They're sitting on the turret. They know. They smelled this one out. They're like, we're not going to extend. We're not going to fall for this. Faye will go back to base and shop, and that is going to give a lot of free from to Ngod and Perhaps, but 228 dropping an own ward, keeping it safe. Smite is going to head over to his golems, and they are relatively the same levels from that jungle, so still no early level 6s coming out from either one of these junglers.
So game number 1, we actually saw Red go for a very aggressive Blade of the Ruin King rush. This time around, he is building tanky, has that Giant's Belt out in his matchup versus Wynn's Renekton. Renekton coming back with its Chain Vest, so he's going to look to tank things up. The only problem is that against the Shyvana, you take so much magic damage that armor early really isn't going to prevent a lot of that from coming through.
Yeah, I mean, you see down bot Perhaps taking complete brush control, which is phenomenal for a Morgana support, and GodKwai just forced to sit back and
he's CSing with zaps.
Yeah, he's allowing Ngod to come back into this lane. He was down CS, but 2 kills also helping him out a lot. He's got double door and sustaining up, and that blue buff just allowing him to spam out those abilities just fine.
And a lane we haven't actually talked about for a while is that mid lane PaSa. On Italy, he's just been wave clearing things out there. I feel like that's kind of his strategy, but you can look at what 228's doing. He's roaming around. He's got enough farm to pick up the items that he needs in that Tier of the Goddess. Keep in mind, he also went support masteries and has a total biscuit of rejuvenation. So a little bit of a different way to play that Ryze. You don't really see Ryze all that much anymore at all. So it's nice to see a little bit of an interesting way of starting his build out there. Deep Presence from Faye is going to take out some ward coverage early on. Doesn't have an Oracles, but on top of a ward, looking to steal away the red.
Yep, and Faye going to be able to get that one up by Red. But Red and Wind just trading back and forth. A ton of damage coming out from Red right now, chasing him down with the burnout. And just going to call to make to heal up a little bit of that, and just going to dominate, show his dominance in that lane. While Perhaps an Ngod down bot, just pushing the lanes. We see Faye coming in towards that mid lane. Going to go rotate towards his blue. It's going to be up any second. And potentially could look for 8 gank onto 228 as he holds out the rest of the wave for his mid laner in PaSa.
Yeah, so Faye was able to secure his red. I think I said steal instead
down bot,
of secure.
actually. The stun comes in from Sean, but he black shields it from the side of Perhaps. There's the Flame Choppers connecting as well as the Zap. Kwai is going to lay in a ton of damage with Pow Pow, but can't get anything else with that one. And just go right on back to farming as the trading is going heavily in favor of HKA in this bot lane.
Yeah, Ngod was actually saving for a BF sword, while GodKwai came back to lane a little bit of extra HP and was able to trade out very effectively, but now is going to have a little bit of a rough time as Perhaps Ngod, they're both going back to base. What are they going to pick up? It's actually a Phage first for Ngod, so no BF sword, no Bloodthirster. It's going to be a Trinity Force build. her Ngod's Lucian.
That seems to be the priority for some of these teams here, as they love going Trinity Force first and then maybe picking up a Last Whisper / Bloodthirster if they want. Either way, Win is having a rough time up top, and with this, we see an early Dragon attempt at 8.5 minutes coming in from the side of CGA. They are going to let 228 come in. GodKwai going to join in for a little bit of zap damage, and first Dragon of the game going to go over to CGA, while up top, it's going to be Red. Dragon's ascending his way out of there from a gank from Faye and Win. So, keeping himself safe and allowing the Dragon Steal, not the Dragon Steal, but the Dragon completely going over freely to CGA, but Red gonna stop Win? Possibly, yes he will. Dominance phase, Dragon's Ascent is gonna fade very soon, and they go right on back to trading it out as the pings for danger coming in onto Faye, who's trying to make a play up top.
Yeah, but Red saw that out there with great ward coverage, and now it's actually going to be Faye returning to the mid lane. We'll walk right into 228.
Oh, doesn't connect. The Cocoon tags him with a little bit of an auto attack for the red buff. The Spider Lane connects, but 228 is going to go farm up Wraiths and go right on back to mid lane in his merry way.
All right, so let's check out the builds. We are going to see probably the double mana build going for Tear of the Goddess and then a Catalyst Protector as well for 228. So it's going to be a standard Nidalee build as well there for PaSa. This is actually sizably far ahead in CS, about 30 CS advantage, 25 there in the middle lane. That's going to be great because it sets up for a big power spike from Athene's Unholy Grail, a little bit ahead of schedule.
Yeah, and down bot, still just pushing out the waves. You see that black pool, the pool helping out with that wave clear, and Zap is level 6 achieved for Morgana now, so the Dark Shackles could come into effect and turn a fight around. Still don't have Tibbers available for Sean on that Annie, so could be a good timing for them to try to fight this one out before you can get 6.
There's that Tormented Soil. I didn't really think of Morgana. Usually she's kind of a Black Shield bot if you played there in the support role, or you set things up with Dark Bindings, but now coming into that bottom lane. On top of a ward, PeehSmite's down there, looking to make it happen. Perhaps he's got his finger over that Black Shield button.
Black Shield actually coming in a flash of the Shackles on 2 members. A flash rate from Sean is not enough. Here comes Faye from the back as well. 2-man stun. They're going to focus on a PeehSmite, but a ton of damage on that Death Rocket coming in from GodKwai, picking up the kill. And God flashes forward, picks up 1 on PeehSmite. Can they pick anything else up? The Ardent Blaze connects. The Spear coming in, but GodKwai strafing down will keep him safe. That is going to be a 1-for-1 trade, trading support for jungler as well as an 80 carry picking up the kill, putting him at 3-1. And this tier 1 turret looks like it's going to fall, as I don't know if they can stop the Nidalee push as well as the attack speed buff he can give. And still up top, we're going to see Dominance pop. He's going to dive onto Red, try to force out the Dragon's Ascent. Looks like no, Red will be able to hold on to that one. But tier 1 turret does fall down bot, and that's going to be the first turret of the game over to HKA.
So Hong Kong Attitude, they will pick that up off of a nice sacrifice. Perhaps did die, but set that up so perfectly. And that's all the crowd control we were expecting from Morgana without without having to build a Zhonya's Hourglass to survive through a full team fight. So nice job there by perhaps making the support Morgana work, but in the top lane, it's a completely different playstyle from Red. We've seen aggressive builds, Blades of the Ruined King built out there, but this time not only is he playing more defensively, building a lot tankier, but he has a CS lead, he hasn't gone over aggressive, and several times he's backed out when you'd expect to see him go in. Like when the Dragon was being taken, he intentionally just ran away, knew that all he needed to do was survive. That dive, he said, hey, you blew Dominus, all I have to do is survive. And so playing a lot less aggressively, biding his time there. I can't imagine he's going to keep doing that for much longer. Yeah,
and speaking of pushing down mid lane still, PaSa going in the Cougar form, popping up the Crystallian Flask, getting a lot of mana back, and he does after the face, but he'll heal it off, spark it off, no problem. And this push is still commencing down here. You see the Flame Chomp pushes zone away just a little bit. Dark Bindings and Spears coming in the same path, so if they would have hit, that's a 2-for-1, and a very, very damaged champion if they do get hit by that one. Spears coming out, PeehSmite. Not really with much health. He's got a Doran's Blade in his build, so looking for a little bit of extra damage, but still getting chunked out by those Spears.
Yeah, Spears are going to hurt when they hit, but it's really more of an if they hit right now. We need a couple there. Not a lot just yet. Because keep in mind, Nidalee's actually waiting for the big power spike that she gets when she picks up the Athene's Unholy Grail. And with 2,500 gold in his pocket, it's actually something that a lot of Nidalees do. They just stay out on the map forever, wave clearing, CSing. But that means that you kind of delay your power spike that you'd see if, say, she had gone back about 5 minutes earlier and would have had that Athene's Unholy Grail in the situation.
Or she could be looking to just straight up go for a death cap. You never know that. Or just look to pick up her Sork shoes. But Athene's Unholy Grail most likely be built for him as he does finish that one off. Red buff gets passed over to Ngod, so gonna look to possibly push out this bot lane, just keep on farming up golems and finish off his Trinity Force as fast as possible. And now perhaps playing that mid laner role in that support Morgana and just gonna farm up and try to get what he can.
I feel like in a mid lane matchup, having 0 ability power on your Morgana probably isn't going to be that effective. So just using the wave clear potential of that still level 1 Tormented Soil.
Whoa, Dominus was just popped by Wind up top here. Gonna go in with the stun, chase down for a little bit of damage, a ton of damage coming out from the PaSa from the ultimate, but that cooldown's going to be down, and Red could try to take advantage with that if he does try to coordinate a gank with PeehSmite, or just keep being that solo farming monster like he is right now.
And sometimes Renekton's will just prop Dominus to establish lane control, but I don't know. It's a little bit questionable there, but still gave him a little bit of free damage down onto Red, and actually, especially with Dominus, that combined with the Sunfire Cape is a lot of overall just area of effect magic damage.
Yeah.
And when you would traditionally spec it into armor, same thing there for Shyvana as well, but a lot of hybrid damage coming out there. Dark Binding won't hit, but PeehSmite, they're in the bottom lane.
Timbers and onto Perhaps, as well as the Assault and Battery, but the Black Shield negating all of that. The Death Rocket going to be blocked out by Ngod. He keeps his support safe and alive, and there's the mechanics of Morgana support, stopping Assault and Battery right in his tracks. But the push up top is commencing from Wind and Fi. They're going to get a tier 1 down bot, though. Timbers going to take up some of that turret damage, and they will be able to actually successfully hold off of this one, while Red going to get initiated on here. Slicing and dicing his way through this one is Wind. Faye going to be the target, though, as Dragon's Ascent comes in. A ton of damage lands on a Faye. He repels backwards onto the other minions, as Red is going to be now content with switching aggro onto Wind, chasing this one down. Ignite gets shot, and the burnout and the auto attacks from Red going to pick up that kill in the 2v1, as Faye wants none of this dragon and will be able to get out, and a kill for Red, but the turret still falls. 2-0 turret advantage for HKA still, as Red is on the hunt.
Absolutely not the Zipper ultimate, but he is going to miss Faye as he did back there in the double Golden's Rush. Meantime, Cyber Games Arena, they did take that dragon away. Something that they've actually been very consistent with. I think they had every single dragon in game number 1. Yep. Continue to focus on those global objectives, but down 2 turrets. Some great early objective pressure there from HKA.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to keep the gold advantage with those 2 dragons, and when they start getting turrets, that's going to put them even further ahead. But Ngod now still down in that bot lane, has 3 kills, has the 1 death unfortunately, but 1 kill for GodKwai. He's got the BF sword, building up towards possibly a Bloodthirster, and then into the last whisper for that Zap Sniper-esque build. We do see everybody leaving the base now. Early Oracle, not early, yeah, kind of early-ish Oracles coming in. 15 minutes for Annie on Sean. Red grabbing the first turret of the game for the side of CGA, while the tier 1 in the mid lane is looking to fall very soon.
Couple of things to point out. PaSa, he loves that Chalice into Tear of the Goddess build. He did it on Ziggs. He's doing it again on Nidalee, and I don't disagree with that on Nidalee because, hey, you're not really looking for the mana. You just want tons and tons of ability power late game. The only problem is he's going to have to get there, and that was a little bit of a rough time. Spear to come out, misses the stun target on GodKwai. Can't really juke it when you're standing still, but even still, Wave will get cleared out once again, and if it's one thing you can say for PaSa, it's that he kills minions pretty well. Up to 156 CS, most CS in the game as well. Going up against Arise, who does have his big core item build completed. Just going to look for probably boots coming up next.
Yeah, the Merc Tread's going to help deal with a ton of the CC coming in from the side of HKA, but HKA have their own agenda right now as they want to push onto this low tier 1 in the mid lane. There is an Annie with a flash. Timbers ready on the other side of the wall. He's Oracles and cleared out that whole Wraith pit. And gonna walk around and skip his way to the fight. We see the pounce come in as well as the spears, but they don't connect just yet. But that Athene's and T are gonna help him sustain through this one. Sean waiting, patient, very patient, and looking for the Timbers initiation.
Yeah, and he has flash up as well, so he can just either flash up the wall, walk around the corner. Has an Oracles too, so he should be able to. There's the flash.
He goes over, gets the 2-man stun. PaSa's gonna be the target. He flashes through with the Black Shield, gonna get him through most of that one. As a shackle coming in from Perhaps on a 4 members. Wind is on the back line. Morgana picking up 1. Red is going to be their next focus. Spears come out. Binding connects on a GodKwai. Through this one, a flash in from Wind, and PaSa picks up GodKwai. Just biting him to the face, and a flash away from Faye. Faye will get him out of there, and now that is going to be the tier 1 falling, and potentially a tier 2 as Wind is going to take up some of that. There is the Lucian ultimate coming through. Not going to be able to pick up the kill on the Red, but now, tanking that turret. They don't have minions just yet. There they are joining the party. That tier 2 is going to fall as they look to establish their dominance and pressure on this turret as the spear does connect, and PeehSmite might not want to go into that.
All right, let's just be real. Perhaps it's the support Morgana God. Once again, didn't even die that time. Does finally have that Philosopher's Stone and huge positioning going into that team fight. I didn't really know what I was watching. I was like, is that a real Morgana? Is it a support Morgana? It doesn't really matter. Now with Boots 5 just completed there, he knows what it takes to get the job done. Had, like you said, a huge soul shackle getting right there in the middle of the enemy team and just overall just too much lockdown for CGA, who are really sort of like a kite team. They want to get off a lot of CC initially, and then you have Jinx get excited to kite backwards. You got a lot of CC to drop out from Rise as he continues to kite backwards, dishing out all of his damage. And really, Red didn't really show up to that last fight. 2 kills, but didn't really keep his turret alive any longer, and that's 2 down in the mid lane, a 4-for-1 turret advantage for Hong Kong Attitude. Yeah, and it looks like GodKwai going away from the Bloodthirster and just going straight for an Infinity's Edge, so looking for a lot of crits with Pow Pow and potentially these extra damage crits coming in from Fishbones. We do see Wind holding off in this bot lane, just slicing and dicing, calling to the Meek, and Sunfire Cape to farm up that whole wave. They're just going to be trading back and forth a little bit. We have PeehSmite coming in the back, has Salt and Batter in a couple seconds, but Faye gonna just pass over the blue buff over to PaSa, and he will just go back to the mid lane. And I'm wondering where they're going to go next. There's a minute and 50 seconds still for Dragon, so that's not going to be a big point for a fight. And Sean with the Oracles just going to be going on that ward-killing rampage. 4 pink wards in the inventory for Perhaps. Doesn't have an Oracles, but is going to be able to get enough map coverage with those pink wards. For Dragon, respawning in about a minute and a half. Sean clearing out vision for that objective. Now CGA, they've been taking a ton of dragons. Game number 1, game 2 as well. Nice black shield there on PaSa, keeping him out of that runic prison. Spear to come out. Oh, just barely misses. You gotta hold your breath when Nidalee throws a spear, because you know it's coming. Yeah, and you don't want to get hit by that, that's for sure. We're seeing everybody group up towards this dragon pit. Both teams, I guess, have a timer on it. We do see them just hanging around. Sean with the Oracle still clearing out everything. Spears coming out from PaSa. This Tibbers used to clear out a bushwhack in the bush, so nice job, Tibbers, taking it out, taking one for the team, but won't be up for this next dragon fight. Yeah, they're still fighting down bot, speaking of a dragon fight, with Shyvana and Renekton. They might look for the flank onto him as more Perhaps is coming around from the side, and Faye looking to come through that tri-brush. The binding doesn't connect on the red, though. Can they get the cocoon is the question. Shackles? It's going to be a cocoon to the Dragon's Descent. Soul Shackle's going to come in here. It's going to hit Annie as well, slicing and dicing his way through. They're going to choose to go for red instead. The rocket comes through, doesn't not connect. There is the binding and the pool, as red will be able to tank through that one. The stun comes through from Annie. He's out of mana. They're chasing this one down. Here's the culling coming in from the side, doing a little bit of damage, but the piercing light from Ngod puts him on a killing spree and nets him the kill. The spear onto the side onto GodKwai. A piercing light and the red buff from Ngod picks up the kill as they're chasing on a 2-2-8. PeehSmite getting ignited. The spear to the wall does not connect. 2-2-8, can he get out of here is the question. Ignite gets dropped on a PeehSmite. He will be able to live, and they cannot chase any further than that one as Rise, not long from this world. Ngod chasing this one down. Relentless red buff being applied, and that is going to be a dead Rise. That is 3 kills for HKA Ngod as he goes on a killing spree and a triple kill overall through that whole fight, and now a tier 2 in the bot lane. Gonna fall. Now 6-1. I gotta say, the Trinity Force Lucian coming out looking very, very good. We talked about how huge the Lucian pick was gonna be for either GodKwai or Ngod. Went for it 2 games in a row. This time I think it's safe to say it's working out a little bit better. Yes, much better. This game looking much stronger, and they're gonna snag up a dragon as well after that turret and be content with all the gold that they have, which is gonna be a lot. Almost 2,000 gold on Ngod after that dragon, as it actually will go up to 2,000 gold, and 1,500 on the top lane, 1,100 across the board onto everybody. And now, potentially, this could be around a time for either a Desperate Baron or just looking to control the pit, as Sean with the Oracles is going over and venturing across that river. Now for CGA, the same thing, but in 2 different ways is going to be very, very big. Not only Dragon control of the objective, but also Red in that last fight didn't really show up. He chose to build tanky early on, but then aggressive later on, which isn't usually the way you see it. Usually you see a lot of aggressive builds come out very early on to win your lane, and then you tank up for the team fights to come out there. A little bit backwards there for Red. You saw he actually didn't look squishy, but he got kited very, very well. Yeah. And Wind was able to use Dominus, disengage back to the rest of his team to support him, whereas for CGA, it's actually Red that's supporting the rest of his team. Yeah, and Red, when he does get that Blade of the Rune King, you're seeing wards get cleared out. Oracles, how many pink wards is that? That's 1, 2, 3, and then Oracles you can count, and then 4, 5 across the map so far. So taking control of the bus and the Baron Pit, looking strong. The Bushwhacks doing a ton of damage to Sean. PaSa looking to chase this one down. Okay, never mind, backing off, giving that support a little bit of relief. We do see him look to switch his attention over to PaSa. The base side wall. He'll look for a spear, but does not connect. Actually, it does connect. Onto Red, taking a little bit of life off of him. And we're seeing the poke composition coming in from HKA, PaSa, perhaps everybody on the side. And
GodKwai just taking a ton of damage. 2-8 getting a strafe away from that spear. But now, Baron being initiated by 3 members of HKA. They're going to try to sneak this one as they have complete control. And does that Relentless Pursuit not go through the wall?
Not quite.
Well, either way, they're going to be able to snag this one up. And I wonder if CGA is going to look to face check. Sean is not looking to face check, that's for sure.
Yeah, Sean's going to take a trip back to base. He'll be joining the fight in a somewhat untimely manner. Will be Baron taken down very low, and in the last couple thousand HP gets taken away. An uncontested Baron for Hong Kong Attitude.
23-minute Baron not being contested means you're in a dominating position. 6,000 gold, looking strong in that lead. 5-1 in turrets. We're seeing wards get cleared out all across the board. They're heading for the tier 2 up top. They want to finish all the outer turrets and then make their way onto a siege potential for the inhibitor turrets, as well as inhibitors potentially. Perhaps gets the binding onto red. Ardent Blaze spears a ton of damage with the piercing light. Win, you're going to go in, get the stun. He's slicing. He's not going to dice. He's going to save that on his way out. Faye coming around from the back though. Looking to flank off anybody he can. He can look to throw cocoons. Spears coming in from PaSa. Doesn't have blue buff, but has a blue pot. They're going to be able to zone them away, and that Baron buff going to keep them very strong and healthy through all this. And that tier 2 going to be handed over for free to HKA.
As much as we talk about the poke from Nidalee being great for sieging turrets, it was actually the Dark Binding that set up the follow-up damage that took red way down below half hit points. And when you're taking the initiate for CGA down so low before the fight even starts, another binding.
The spear connects as well. The culling is laying in a ton of damage, but he gets out. The rocket connects on the perhaps, but he tanks up all that damage. Fearless is this Morgana support, pops the dark shield, the black shield, excuse me, and is able to just mitigate whatever CC. The binding connects onto red right now. They're not going to choose to focus this one out. Wow, the chain CC, the bindings, the cocoons, the spears, everything. Faye though getting a little low, but a heal from Nidalee comes out, and he will be just fine as the siege is commencing still. Piercing lights all over the place, and wave clear galore for HKA. And when those spears keep connecting, it's going to be really rough for CGA to hold off this push.
Yeah, the spears were made for sieging. That's just what they're going to do. PaSa continuing to throw them out. And it's actually kind of interesting, not just going for spears to siege, but also having the sustain there as well. And anytime you hear a ping off to the side of the screen, it's because a spear landed. As PaSa continues to throw them out. Doesn't have blue buff, but does have that Athene's and Holy Grail to sustain him for mana there as the push continues for Hong Kong Attitude.
Yeah, the thing is though, the waves on the side and mid lane are slowly starting to build up, so they'll have those waves pushing in. They could just keep sieging with this Baron buff. It's at half right now, so a couple minutes left on that. There's the black shield to use on perhaps, so it's going to be a little bit of a cooldown, so next fight could be very interesting. A cocoon connects on a Sean, the binding connects on as well. HK with the Ardent Blaze, and oh my god, just Gunslinger passes through the wall, picks up the kill, and God showing no mercy to Sean on that Annie, as now the inhibitor turret's going to be their target. They throw out the Death Rocket, connects on the perhaps, excited, Jinx comes in, and they're going to actually pick up a double kill on GodKwai. Can they get anything else on the Baron up? HKA, they're chasing them down as the Flash and the Runic Prison comes in. Can they get Faye? He repels in, and it's going to be Wind picking
Faye's
up
alive.
a kill on 2-2A. Faye is still alive in the back line as GodKwai is going to be their target. He gets it with the Call of the Meek for Wind, as now they're switching onto Smite. They get the Cocoon, the Venomous Bite, everything coming in. He's slicing. He gets it with the Call of the Meek and the help of the Sunfire Cape. A triple kill for Wind, going huge there. And that is a 4 for 2, and now an inhibitor going down in the base of CGA. HKA looking in a very dominating fashion.
Cyber Games Arena had that fight. They got a perfect initiation underneath their own turret. They cut out Ngod, blew him up before the fight even started. And same thing happened to Perhaps. He did not even get his ultimate off. Okay, so we got it off, and then he died immediately thereafter. No Zhonya's to come out for him anytime soon. And so when your bottom lane just explodes, that should, I mean, that if you think about it,
it's a good sign, right?
It is a good sign, but for CGA, they just got out-kited. They tried to catch PaSa, and you're not going to catch a Nidalee. Had, I think it was 34% CDR. Let me see if she's running out. It's actually 31%. Only getting an extra 1% there in the cooldown mastery. So now going to have a blue buff, so we'll have max CDR when we come into fight number 2. The only problem is this time around, she's got a completed Rabadon's Death Cap as well as a Seraph's Embrace to top it off.
And not being out of Ziggs this time allows him to capitalize on those spears so well. He just picked up Boots as well, mind you. So now just waiting to see when he picks up tier 2s. Maybe 30 minutes into the game, 35 minutes roughly, if he wants to go for that one.
Oh, Sean.
Spear on a Sean takes him down to half HP.
Oh,
and here comes the chase. Tibbers gets forced out there. Spear comes in from the side but does not connect. Sean is forced to get out of there. And that Tibbers cooldown going to be very huge for the next fight if the side of HKA want to force it out.
Command Tibbers has no cooldown, so we'll wait to check out exactly how long that works out once Mr. Tibbers decides to time himself out up there. But now it's going to be just base defense, top lane. Did see that inhibitor go down off of the last push, and now it's looking towards mid. but not the entire team ready to show up just yet. It's going to be Dragon taken by Faye. Wind will clear out the bottom lane from its push. And now Hong Kong Attitude, with all their objectives taken care of, are free to push down mid lane once again.
Yep, blue buff on Elise and blue buff on Nidalee. So just infinite cocoons coming out all over the place, as well as spears and bushwhacks galore going to be dropped everywhere. Binding connects, as well as the Arden Blaze are getting a ton of damage in, as well as the help of the pool to reduce some magic resist there. And now going to go back to pushing waves and sieging it away, as I think Wind is confident enough to 1v1 anybody down on that bot lane, even if red comes.
PaSa takes damage and then just heals it out. Let's actually check out what that Primal Surge is healing for right now. Wow. It's going to be almost 500 health, more than that. 513. Yeah, that's, you can deal almost 1,000 damage to him, and in about 10 seconds, it's just gone.
Wow, that's pretty good. We're going to see the push come in still. Spears galore and the piercing lights to help push all the ways. The Cocoon connects. Going to do a ton of damage to Jinx right there. He's forced to back out, as well as he sustained off of oh my god, I just forgot his name. The rocket launcher. And we're going to see the inhibitor turret go down right now. And now potentially the second inhibitor of the game going to go over, as HKA just taking this one uncontested and just asserting their dominance with this poke comp.
Yeah, Fi got in there, didn't quite land the cocoon he was looking for to follow that up, but hey, it's the middle inhibitor down, and now with 2 inhibs down, it's the rest of Hong Kong Attitude.
Wow.
So much fear. They have the catch potential of Gods now, especially in the back there, and God just now so much damage there onto the Nexus, or onto the base turret. Last base turret of the game falls. Hong Kong Attitude looking to pick a fight.
Wow, Sean is just going to delete from the game, as now the calling coming in, as well as a nice shackle on 3 members. 228 is their target. Can they pick up the kill? It looks like the exhaust is going to come in. Double kill for Wind, as it's going to be Ngod taking down Vi. Smite is not going to be existent, and now there's the third inhibitor to the game, and this is going to look like it's going to tie up the series, as this should be game.
Pushing in, perhaps takes his happen immediately, gets healed up for almost double the value. First Nexus turret going down. Steve will fall next. Didn't actually survive all too long in this game by himself. 2 Nexus turrets down. The Nexus to fall. And after losing game number 1, Hong Kong Attitude fire back and take the second game of the series.
That was a whole swing in momentum that game. I thought CGA was going to come out of the gate just rolling, but HKA did that instead. And just strong showing this time. Ngod taking that Lucian and just pushing it through and going 8-2-7, showing a very strong performance. And Wind as well, just going up against Red, doing a strong showing with 6-2-6. And PaSa, 3-0-8 on that Nidalee, just poking and sieging like a madman on that Nidalee.
What can we say? The carries carried, and everything that we said Hong Kong Attitude needed to change about game number 1, they addressed every single one of those issues. Wind dominated his matchup, went 6-2-6 against a 2-3-1 Red, who's on one of his comfort champions, didn't really show up. And then, like you said, the mid lane matchup worked out so much better. 3-0-8 there for PaSa as well. So Hong Kong Attitude